Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranja Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranja Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Jaya Radha Radha Kanta Radha Radha Kanta Radhe Jaya Radha Kanta Radha Radha Kanta Radhe Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Shri Ram Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Bhagavatam ki jai, Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. What is the verse from the 27?
3:1:27.
I think we read that yesterday.
No, I think it's 26. I think they're similar.
Okay. All right. Kaschit Gurunam Paramasuruno
Gurunam Paramasurino
Bhamasa Aste Shukam Mangashaurihi
Bhamasa Aste Sukhamam Gashaurihi
Yo Vai पितृवत् ददाति
यो वैश्वानरं पितृवत् ददाति
वरान् वदान्यो वरतर्पणेन कश्चित् गुरुणां परमासुहृदो वामासास्ते सुखमङ्गशौरी यो वै स्वश्रुणां पितृवत् ददाति वरान् वदान्यो वरतर्पणेन कश्चित् गुरुणां परमासुहृदो वामासास्ते सुखमङ्गशौरी यो वै स्वश्रुणां पितृवत् ददाति वरान् वदान्यो वरदर्पणेन One who, why, certainly, Swashanam of the sisters, Pitrana, Pitruvat, like the father. Dadati gives, Varan, everything desirable. Vadanya, beneficent, Vara, wife. Tarpanena, by pleasing. Translation is Srimad Prabhupada. Please repeat. Please tell me whether the best friend of the Kurus, our brother-in-law, Vasudeva, is doing well. He is very munificent. He is like a father to his sisters. And is always pleasing to his wives. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna's father, Vasudeva, had 16 wives, and one of them named Pauravi or Rohini, the mother of Baladeva, or sister of Vidura. Vasudeva therefore was the husband of Vidura's sister, thus they were brother-in-law. Vasudeva's sister Kunti was wife of Pandu, was Vidura's elder brother, and in that sense also, Vasudeva was brother-in-law to Vidura. Kunti was younger than Vasudeva. and it was the duty of the elder brother to treat younger sisters as daughters. Whenever anything was needed by Kunti, it was beneficially delivered by Vasudeva. Due to his great love for his younger sister, Vasudeva never dissatisfied his wives. Due to his great love for his younger sister. Next sentence. Vasudeva never dissatisfied his wives. And at the same time, he supplied the objects desired by his sister. He had special attention for Kunti because she became a widow at an early age. While inquiring about Vasudeva's welfare, Vidura remembered all about him and the family relationship. Harihi Om Tat Sat. I'll read the next verse also. Later. Amagyanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Mugam Karoti Vacharam Gangam Nangayate Girim Yatkripadamaham Mande Shri Guru Giratarinam Paramanandamadhamam Shri Chaitanyamishwaram Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesham Nivadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Ramchitam Padurubhya Shubha Sundhavya Chavitanam Ramani Vivishtavedyo Namo Namaha. Reading from Canto 3, Chapter 1, text 28. So here we see how Vidura was sent out by Gurus outside Hastinapur. She was treated with very harsh words, because of which Vidura decided to leave Hastinapur, and he decided to undertake a pilgrimage, which is not unusual for anybody who is beyond the age of 50. So it is said that first 25 years one learns under the tutelage of one's Guru, Gurukula. Next 25 years takes the responsibility of householder, and then he executes different things, the duties according to Varnashram Dharma, and make some money and give some donations to charitable people who deserves charity. And the third quarter of his lifetime he should spend in as a vanaprastha. He should go and should live in a solitary place, and should execute penances, or he should go and travel to different places of pilgrimage. And we saw in the last class also, I mentioned that Dr. Yuga, the main Yuga Dharma is to travel Paricharyayam, Vapare Paricharyayam, travel around, visit the places of pilgrimage and worship the deities of the certain special places, like we mentioned Ayodhya, and so many places mentioned in Bhagavatam here. Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada is saying that was Prabhupada mentions different places, very special places. Like usually they take from the clockwise. They go from especially from north, they go to the eastern part of India, then they go south from there, and like Puri, visiting Puri, then go south to different places like in Andhra Pradesh, and going to Tamil Nadu, and going to Kerala, and come up again in the western side of India, visiting various places of pilgrimage. That's normally the going clockwise is normally considered to be auspicious. So we saw how Vidura also left Hastinapur and then he took pilgrimage and he visited Prabhasa, where he learned about the ultimate demise of the Yadu dynasty and also Lord Krishna also leaving the material world. So he learned about that. And then he continued pilgrimage, going clockwise again from the Dwarka and the Prabhasa Kshetra, comes into the near to Mathura and ultimately Yamuna. So Yamuna is where he meets Uddhava. So Uddhava is a very special person. So everybody knows that. So Uddhava is the son of Devabhaga. Devabhaga is the brother of Vasudeva. So he is a directly cousin to Lord Krishna. And because he was a Yadu, so he remained along with Krishna in Dwarka most of his time. And he was very special. So we discussed about the different relationship one devotee can have with Krishna. So he was the Sakya Rasa. What he was in the Sakya Rasa, out of Sakya Rasa there are three different stages. The Sakya Rasa in the mood of tinged with Dasya, as the Sakya Rasa tinged with the Vatsalya and Madhurya. So that is the Uddhava's situation. Uddhava was more very close to Krishna. So he knew he was Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he had very not just reverential relationship, but more often very intimate relationship. He understood Krishna's inner desires and inner feelings in his heart. And so much so that he was asked to go as a Duta or a messenger to the gopis. So such was his intimacy with Krishna. So he understood Krishna as a very, very dear friend. And he was a very special person. So everybody knew that. And Vidura also knew that. So when Vidura met Krishna, Uddhava, in the Yamuna, banks of Yamuna, so he was very, very happy to see him. That to good extent, he felt relieved seeing Uddhava, because he was burning out of separation from Krishna, especially after knowing Krishna has left the planet and after knowing that Yadus have left the planet. There are very few Yadus left. And Uddhava was definitely one of the best and closest to Krishna. So when he saw Uddhava, he was very much attached and very much affectionate towards him. Although he was very younger to him, he hugged him. And then he asked about the welfare of everybody. He knew Lord Krishna had already passed away, and he knew most of the Yadus were already left, but still, so Vidura was in ecstasy, and he was asking about them, hoping to hear something more than what he already learned when he was with Prabhu. So he asked Uddhava all these questions about how is Krishna and Balaram, and how here is asking how is Vasudeva, and he's also going to ask about Pradyumna and different other Yadus, very special Yadus. So the hope of getting to know more about what happened to Krishna, what actually transpired between Krishna just before he left the mortal world. And so, hoping to hear from him, so he's asking from Uddhava. So we also saw yesterday, Father Danakili was talking about what is happening, what's going to happen. So Uddhava, who is going to tell to Vasudeva, to Vidura, that he would have to go to Bhattikashrama. And internally he was thinking that he is actually much younger to Vidura. So it would not be proper or appropriate for him to give any instructions or anything that is instructive to Vidura. Vidura is also very great devotee of Krishna. Uddhava knows that. And so he does not want to be seen giving any kind of instructions to Vidura. So he's going to delegate that to Maitreya Rishi. So Maitreya Rishi also happened to travel with Uddhava. So that is the background of this. And coming back to this was about Vasudeva. So Vasudeva is a very special person. We see from the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada quotes how Vasudeva and Devaki they both performed a lot of austerities to get Krishna as their son, as Krishni and Sutapa and Krishni, and then as Aditi and Kashyapa, then also as Vasudeva, Devaki. They got Lord Supreme Lord Krishna as their son. So Krishna advented in his four-handed form and became a small baby. So we all know that from Srimad Bhagavatam. So Vasudeva is a very special person. To get Lord Krishna as his son, somebody has to be very special. So here we see much more details about Vasudeva's character. How he was so affectionate to his sisters, how he was so loving to his wives. So he has 16 wives, it is said in Bhagavatam, and amongst them were Devaki and Rohini. So Devaki was mother of Krishna, and Rohini was the mother of Balaram. And Rohini also happens to be related to Vidura. So what is the relation? We saw that purport. Anybody remembers? What is the relation between Rohini and Vidura? So Rohini was sister of Vidura. And
how's that?
It's a cousin sister.
A cousin.
And Vidura was also related through Kunti. So Kunti is the Kunti is sister of Vasudeva. Direct sister. So both of them were children of Surasena. Surasena was the Yadu king. Bhoja dynasty. So he had Vasudeva and Kunti was called as Pritha before. So Pritha and Vasudeva, they were brother and sister. And Kunti was a younger sister to Vasudeva. So, but then Surasena had a very friendly relationship with Kunti Bhoja. So then he did not have any issues. Therefore, he gave Kunti as a daughter to Kunti Bhoja. So she was from Pritha, her name was changed to Kunti. So that is how they are related. So although they were actually brother and sister. So and since Kunti became the wife of Pandu, so for Vidura she is the Bhabi, or she is the elder sister-in-law, because Pandu was elder to Vidura. So in that way, Vidura and Vasudeva are related in two directions, two different ways, through Rohini and also through Kunti. But Kunti, so in Indian marriages, you married to some other family, you actually belong to that family. And the maternal family is also there, but it is not that important. The marriage family married to is more important. Actually, you bear the responsibilities of that family. So that's why Kunti is, through Kunti, the relationship is weaker as compared to Rohini. So that is interestingly that is pointed out here. So, and we also saw Devabhaga is the brother of Vasudeva. So Uddhava is related, and through Kunti the Pandavas are related, and through Rohini Vidura is also related. So there are multiple different ways in which Uddhava is very special. And Uddhava is connected with Vasudeva also. So he was a cousin of Krishna through Vasudeva. So all these things brings a lot of affection towards Uddhava, and they're going to discuss about the different other things going forward. So I'm going to read from the next verse, text number 28. Kaschit varuta the adipatir yaduna pradyumna aste shukamanga vira yam rukmini bhagavato abhileve aradya vipran smaranam adi sarge. Translation: O Uddhava, please tell me how is Pradyumna, commander-in-chief of Yadus, who was cupid in his former life, Rukmini bore him as her son, Lord Krishna, by the grace of Brahmanas, whom she pleased. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, Smara, Cupid or Kamadeva, is one of the eternal associates of Lord Krishna. Jiva Goswami has explained this very elaborately in his treatise Krishna Sandarbha. That's the end of the purport. So in this verse also, so we see Rudraj asking about Pradyumna. And Pradyumna is a very interesting personality. He is directly a son of Krishna, between Krishna and Rukmini. And so the hint is given here, by grace of Brahmanas whom she pleased. So we know the story of how Krishna married Rukmini. So Rukmini was very special and well cultured and full of all auspicious qualities. She's the incarnation of Laxmi herself. So she is a very, very special person. But Rukmini's brother, Rukmi, so he was in great friends with Shishupala. So Shishupala is again a cousin of Krishna. So Shishupala but was very envious of Krishna. So he, as we know, is the incarnation of the Jaya Vijaya coming from different generations. So Shishupala and Dantavakra, they are incarnations of Jaya Vijaya. And by birth themselves, they are extremely envious of Krishna. So when Rukmi decided to give her marriage to Shishupala, her father was not very much in conjunction with them. So he wanted to give her to Krishna. So but since Rukmi was a very dear son of him, and so he didn't want to dissuade him. He didn't want to dissuade this move from Rukmi. So he was a little bit not very happy with this, but he was anyway going forward. But Rukmini was extremely displeased. So Rukmini all the time, from her very birth, has been hearing about Krishna from different Brahmanas who are coming to the court and talk about his great qualities. So, so she was always enamored by Krishna, hearing about his great qualities. Just like Mother Sita was also, as soon as Mother Sita saw Rama, immediately she knew, this is my Lord. So like that, Rukmini already saw Krishna through the ears. She didn't see Krishna through the eyes. That's very important item. So one should actually hear about Krishna. That's more important than seeing Krishna. In the sense like hearing from great sages, from great wonderful devotees of Krishna, that is more purifying. So because our eyes are not trained to see Krishna, our eyes are not purified to see Krishna. So we see Krishna with different layers of illusion that is covering our mind. So but whereas ears are much more significant. When you hear attentively to Krishna or Srimad Bhagavatam classes, when you hear attentively to great devotees like Prabhupada, so that hearing from the Bhagavatam and the pure devotees, it enters into the ears and it goes to the heart and cleanses the heart. And it has a much more profound effect in making us see Krishna properly. So first we should hear about the great personality of Godhead, and then we should see Him, because then we'll be more trained to see Him properly. Unless we heard from Prabhupada, unless we heard from devotees about how to see Krishna, who is Krishna, and there is no way we can appreciate Krishna. So if there is some stranger coming to the temple to see Krishna, so they would see this as wonderful, nice statues, very nicely decorated. So they would not say anything beyond that. So but if they were trained, if they were hearing about Supreme Lord from the books of Prabhupada, from the hearing about the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita classes, then they're going to have altogether different perspective about Krishna. So that's more important. So that's why here is very significant. So Rukmini's approach was very significant. So she heard about Krishna and she brought Krishna into her mind. And she was always worshipping Krishna as a worshipable Lord. So definitely, if somebody marries somebody else, then she has to be dedicated to him. So she definitely has to take a husband as a Patidev, as a worshipable Lord. She has to dedicate and be chaste to him. But she had already taken Krishna into her heart. And going from a relationship, she's already eternally connected with Krishna as his concern. So she was already, Krishna has already been there eternally with her in her mind, in her heart, and every part of her thinking. No way that she could have married somebody else. So Rukmini was contemplating, if I'm not going to get Krishna, I'm going to commit suicide. So in this way, she wanted to give it a try before she does anything, takes an extreme drastic step. So she sent a messenger to a Brahmana. So she talked to a Brahmana. So that also illustrates the importance of a Brahmana. So a Brahmana is completely self-controlled. So he is able to deliver the message as is. He's not getting emotional about things. So he is very self-controlled and he is very confidential and he knows what is the best interest of everybody. So that's why she chose a Brahmana. She didn't choose any spy, somebody to send information to Krishna. She chose a Brahmana who is pure, and Krishna is never going to miss honoring a Brahmana. So when a Brahmana comes to the court of Krishna, he is definitely going to honor him and going to listen from him, all the different things that he has to say. So that's why she chose a Brahmana. That's why it's very specifically called out here. Or Krishna by the grace of Brahmanas, whom she pleased. So she pleased the Brahmana in a very pleasing way. She gave very nice, eloquent words of praise for the Brahmana, a lot of gift for the Brahmana. And she requested this message to be sent to Krishna. And Brahmana also, he undertook that great task. So going from, Rukmini and I think they are in Matsya Desh. So he travelled a long way from there to Dwarka, which is a very far off place. So this is like Bihar. From Bihar, he went all the way to the Dwarka, which is off the coast of the Gujarat. So that's a long distance. So he travelled to Dwarka, conveyed the message to Krishna. And so Rukmini was very much, she was not sure Krishna would come in time. And if the Brahmana even went and sent the message to him, it was a long distance. And already the plan was already being arranged for the marriage. But Krishna being the super soul in everybody's heart, so he knew what is Rukmini's situation and what she was thinking, what is her feeling for him. Of course, his eternal concern. So anyway, this was going to happen. Krishna already decided that Rukmini should definitely be taken away from there. And Krishna and Balaram actually came there to the Matsya Desh, and he came and in front of everybody first. Everybody knew Krishna is there. So automatically those who were envious of him, those who were against him, they were already preparing for a war. But the king of it is said, I just read Krishna book also, the father of Rukmini also, he was very pleased to see Krishna. And he also felt, seeing Krishna, that he is the most qualified person to get Rukmini's hand. And all the citizens of the country also felt the same. When they saw Krishna, they understood he is the most qualified person. Rukmini is very qualified. And to get someone like her as a wife, he is the most qualified person. So they were all convinced about it. So they all thought, marriage, if it was to happen, should be happen between Krishna and Rukmini. So Krishna being the super soul of everybody, so he was thinking, yes, I should fulfill everybody's wishes. And I should also fulfill the wishes of my enemies. My enemies are here in order to come and fight with me. Like Shishupala and all the other Rukmi and even Jarasandha, everybody was there. So then Krishna decided to, so everybody was thinking that, okay, Shishupala's marriage is going to happen. So we are all in great strength, so even Krishna would not dare to do anything. So they were thinking like this. Then Krishna, by his mystic potency, so he came out of nowhere and then he took away Rukmini. And that a great fight ensued, and a war ensued there. A lot of people were killed, a lot of people were, arms were cut. And ultimately Krishna won over. Balaram and Krishna, they fought over. Everybody was defeated. And even Rukmini was, finally he was challenging Krishna and he was disrespected also. So his mustache was cut and his hair was cut in order to make him, in order to disfigure him, because he called very harsh words to Krishna. He spoke very harsh words to Krishna. So he had to do that. So this was the story of marriage between Rukmini and Krishna. And out of the marriage came Pradyumna. So Pradyumna was a very, very special person. So it is said Pradyumna is also an amsha of the Pradyumna or the Chaturyuha incarnations. So Krishna, if you remember, before the coming to the material world as Mahavishnu or other Vishnus, so Krishna's 4 special primordial expansions were 4 incarnations, namely Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha and Sankarsana. So they are the 4 considered to be cardinal incarnations of Krishna. And from Vasudeva comes Narayana, from him comes the Mahavishnu. That's how we get choose. So Pradyumna is an expansion of Krishna. And so Pradyumna in one sense is considered to be an amsha of Krishna himself. In other sense he is said to be an incarnation of Cupid or Manmatha. So he is Cupid is actually a demigod who is an part of the entourage of Indra. So he was part of the Deva's army. So once what happened, so Pradyumna, so it was not called Pradyumna at the time, it was called as Manmatha or Cupid. So he was fighting with the Asuras. There was one great Asura called Tarakasura. He was an extremely fierce demon. And it so happened that he was fighting so fiercely, and the demigods were all completely shaken. They were not sure about their victory. So they thought that we need somebody to help us. And the guru of the demigods suggested to go and approach Brahma. So Brahma suggested that the only way to defeat this demon is that an amsha of Lord Shiva has to come and kill him. Because that was a wound that he has got. That only an amsha of the Shiva can kill him. So Lord Shiva was deep in meditation. He was thinking about Krishna, obviously. He was meditating about Krishna. Then the demigods were considering how to get an offspring from Shiva. He is deep in meditation, so nobody can actually go and directly dissuade his meditation. It's really very dangerous. So something has to be done and arranged so that Shiva comes out of meditation. So then the demigods will summon Cupid. So then they asked him, why don't you go and try your ways to see if you can dissuade Shiva from deep meditation and let him come out of the meditation. So Cupid, he tried, he thought, okay, let me try a few things. So he first, Cupid usually has his arrows. The arrows with bows and arrows. Bow is simply made up of sugarcane. And he has some arrows made up of different flowers. And each flower, each arrow has got different purpose. So when somebody is struck by Cupid, we all know. So it generates very erotic feelings in the person. So they thought that somehow or other this way Shiva can be brought out of meditation and he can be persuaded to give up amsha. So, but Cupid's attempts became, it was defeated. So when Cupid was shooting an arrow on Shiva, so Lord Shiva became very disturbed by that and became very angry. So he did not even come out of meditation, but he let his third eye open. So his third eye, which is there right in his temple, so that is said to be a very fierce eye. So when the third eye opens, the fire comes out of it and it burns the person opposite to ashes. So when the third eye was open, the Kamadeva or the Cupid was burnt to ashes. He did not die, but his form was completely burnt. And so then Lord Shiva came out of meditation and he understood what happened and what is the purpose of this Kamadeva having to do all these things. All the demigods came and pleaded with him, and then he decides to help them out. First he revived the life of Kamadeva, because he was born to ashes, but he was not having any form. He was like a ghostly form, and he did not have any form. So then he, by the pleadings of all the demigods, he gave a son called Kartikeya. This Kartikeya became the commander-in-chief of the demigods, and he went and he defeated all the demons. So, but our Cupid here, Kamadeva, was completely formless. So, although he was alive, so he was given a benediction that he will advent as a son of Krishna himself, between Krishna and Rukmini. So this Pradyumna was born as the son of Krishna and Rukmini. And so Pradyumna, she was born as a small baby, but there was another demon who decided to kidnap Pradyumna, because somehow or other knew that Pradyumna would be the cause for his death. So this demon's name was Sambara. So he kidnapped Pradyumna and he took him and he put him in the ocean. This baby fell into the ocean, just making it very short. And this baby was swallowed by a fish. A very big fish swallowed Pradyumna. So then what happens? Everybody thought Pradyumna is gone. Even Rukmini thought her son is dead. So it was somehow that he is gone. So nobody knew what happened, because it all happened in the night time. So Rukmini was having this her son next to her. But in the morning, he disappeared. So everybody thought Pradyumna is gone. They were all in extreme wailing and they were crying like this. But meantime, this happened. This baby was consumed by a fish, and this fish was caught by the same Sambara's fishermen. Such a big fish it was that they thought they would sell it to the king. So they brought it to the king, Sambara, the demon. The king said, "Wow, very nice fish tonight. We should definitely use it for our royal cooking." So they gave it to the royal cook, and the royal cook gave it to the assistant cook. Her name was Mayavati. So she cut open the fish and then found this beautiful baby. So this baby was Pradyumna. And so then she decided to raise Pradyumna. And Pradyumna, in no moment, as soon as he was out of the body of the fish, so in a few days he became a very young man. And this Mayavati, so happened that she was actually an reincarnation of Rati, who is actually the wife of Cupid. So she understood through Narada Muni that actually this is Pradyumna and is a reincarnation of Cupid, who is her husband in the previous life. So Mayavati, she brought the boy up, and then he became a young man. And then she told everything what happened. So what is the background, who she is, who he is, and all these things. Pradyumna understood what needs to be done. So he went and challenged Sambara in the fight. Big fight ensued. Sambara was very skilled in all the devious means and all the Rakshasa means. So he used different mystic weapons against our Pradyumna. But Pradyumna, being the son of Krishna, so he knew how to defeat all this devious means of the Rakshasa. So by his own means, divine means. So all the other different illusions were defeated. And finally Shambhara was killed. So Pradyumna and Mayavati, by this time, she also retook her form as Rati. So they both came back to the Dwarka. And they again, so Mother Rukmini was very happy to see all these things. So this is all in Krishna's book. Krishna book is there, you can read. Very beautiful pastime. So here, the important part is that so Pradyumna is the reincarnation of Cupid and also a partial incarnation of Pradyumna, Supreme Lord. So this is very special that we read about great souls here today, about Vasudeva, about Pradyumna, and knowing the stories. So this is all connected to Krishna. So we'll stop here. Any questions so far? It's 8:05.
Well, it's not a question, but I was just thinking how just intricate Bhagavatam is. It's like you can take any verse or any one detail and it just like expands and expands and expands like one of those fractal designs you can just zoom in on forever. You know? Like Bhagavatam, you can unwrap a verse and then there's 10 other things that you can unwrap, and before you know it, like you're in this whole like epic story involved, like just just an offshoot. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like any little aspect of it can just be expanded on forever. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, it's all connected to Krishna.
Yeah.
So Krishna is the center point in the whole Bhagavatam. In the beginning, in the middle, and the end. So that's why everything. So it is said that Mahabharata has 10 different meanings every verse. And because there is some people who are real devotees, advanced devotees can really see, what is blessed that the demigods can be. They can understand much deeper meanings of Mahabharata. Similarly, Bhagavatam also. So that's all very well connected. All connected to Krishna's pastimes. So, and it's very interesting. And as yesterday we discussed, it's not very chronological. It is sometimes different times. It's all conversation that's happening between Shukadeva Goswami and Shuka Goswami. So this actually was discussed at a great length in the first canto. How this all happened, how Vidura came and everything. So then here it is starting from where it was left in the first canto. Vidura's part. It's very interesting.
What's the next verse?
29. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Switched off, Mata.